Did him and Draymond Green have a bad relationship? Not from what I was told. They had bad moments. We saw that. And as somebody that knows Draymond Green very well, Draymond Green, let me be very, very clear to you, he's an acquired taste. I love the brother. But a lot of people might not, because Draymond Green is as honest and as real as they come. He ain't going to bite his tongue. And sometimes you might have somebody like KD who may not want to hear that. Then the key match. KD's, and nobody talks about this, KD's relationship with Steve Kerr was not good. And I'm not saying that Steve Kerr did anything. I'm not saying that there was some fallout or anything that happened. From what I was told, KD was not feeling Steve Kerr at all. At all. And to the point where that's why you saw Bob Myers around him. That's why you see his guy, Rich Kleiman, around him. That's why you saw other players. For some reason, the relationship that Steve Kerr, one of the nicest guys you could ever meet, obviously a champion personified, knows his basketball, qualified, Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned with everything that he's accomplished, you would think that a great coach like Steve Kerr has proven to be would have cultivated a better relationship with Kevin Durant. He didn't pull that off. And that had something to do with Kevin Durant and the relationship with the team as a whole as well.
Interesting about Kerr, because you saw KD in that article in the Wall Street Journal, which read like a piece in GQ. I keep thinking about, like, I know exactly how much his Nike shorts and shirt cost. And I wonder, because I read that on a printout, was there a link where you could buy it? It felt like, you know.
Could you buy it, though, those pieces?
Right, well, I wouldn't, but in that article, KD talked about the issue with the Warriors system and how it can kind of break down in the playoffs. You're going to have to do certain things anyway. And it's interesting that you say that you are now reporting, Stephen A., that he wasn't feeling Steve Kerr like to that level, because now some of that other stuff makes a little more sense that he was talking about.
I said that months ago right on this show, by the way. I said that months ago right on this show.
Steph Curry. I like it's interesting to me, these kind of things, when you don't even realize until you really sit down and think about it why something happens. So on some level, KD must realize this. But I don't know if it's even conscious, and I think we all understand this, but I don't know if we've really articulated it this way. Think about this for a second. Why, when you boil it down, did KD want to play for the Warriors? Why? Because of Steph Curry. When you really boil it down, people want to play for that team because it's a powerhouse team. It's a juggernaut team. They don't play like the Rockets. One guy is not monopolizing the ball, even though he shoots it a lot. But Steph Curry is a culture setter, not only in terms of the attitude, but the way he plays the game. The ball, he's the point guard, but the ball doesn't stick with him. He always makes the right basketball play, but with him, the right basketball play may be shooting from 10 feet behind the line, because he can hit that shot. He will willingly pass to his teammates. I mean, and yet his teammates are like, when this dude is hot, no, take that shot. He sets the right, he works in the system. He is the right kind of, I know Draymond Green's the vocal leader and everything, but really when you boil, if there's one indivisible, one element when you boil it down, what are the Warriors? If you had to say one thing, it's Steph Curry, and he's actually the reason, whether KD knows it or not, that KD wound up in Golden State, that he wanted to play there in the first place. So when KD now is saying, I was never really a part of it, that may be true. Who are we to say how it feels? You go to the new school and those kids have already been there for several years. You're the new kid. You may have friends, but you may feel like they already have that group. He may have genuinely felt that way. But from Steph Curry's point of view, by the way, Stephen A., he's giving you more evidence why people want to play there. Didn't take one shot, talked about how great KD is. He's the reason.
I'm trying to come at you because I have something to tell you, and I'm really interested in hearing your answer to this, your response to this. Max, you say Steph Curry. I actually think Steve Kerr deserves a lot of credit, because before Kevin Durant arrived, even though they had a system in place, it was primarily predicated on Steph and Clay. And it was something that was, installed per se by a Steve Kerr. Now, Mark Jackson established the foundation, but Steve Kerr was able to take it to another level. Kevin Durant personally told me the biggest reason he wanted to go to Golden State is because he wanted to improve his game and continue to develop his game, and he loved their system and the way he thought he could thrive in it. Here's the question for you, Max. I'm kind of thinking, I'm shocked to be saying this, If Mark Jackson had been there, would Kevin Durant have wanted to leave? Because the more I think about the Steve Kerr element of Kevin Durant, the more I think Mark Jackson would have done a better job to facilitate that relationship with KD. And as a result, he might have wanted to stay in Golden State. What do you say to that?
I don't know, because I don't know how much success, if they would have the same level of success under Mark Jackson based on the offense he was running. I'll say this. I always thought the Warriors were most about Steph 1 and Dre 2. He was the pick-and-roll partner. He was the 5 that allowed them to play 5 out when he was shooting the ball well. He was the guy doing all the dirty work. And maybe because of that Steph-Dre dynamic, really, that's his crime partner and the shooter, of course, you know, the Splash Brothers. KD really was the odd man out in terms of the dynamics of the team. But the question about Mark Jackson's unknowable. I suspect they would not have had quite the same level of success under the old offense that Mark Jackson was running.
And Max, just to wrap it up, I mean, I used to be the Warriors sideline reporter. I was there for 3 of their seasons. I agree with that. You know, I feel like it was not only the combination of basketball skill sets that made the Warriors work, but also a great combination of personalities that meshed really well and complemented each other really well. And I hope for KD that he can reflect on his time there really positively, because without Stephen Curry deferred to take Kevin Durant in and allow him to feel comfortable. Much like you say D-Wade for LeBron, Stephen Curry did that for KD. You'll never hear Steph say anything negative, but that man welcomed him, that team welcomed him and bent to make him feel welcome. And what more do you want? Championships, finals MVP, legacy, lore. He got a lot out of that. It worked for Kevin.
Steph took himself out of the MVP conversation.
Even so selfless.
When, by the way, he was performing on an MVP level in order to do the right thing by the team. And that's why, really, people want to play there. It starts with him.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.